I've got some exciting news to share with you today. After 3 devlogs and months of dodging this feature, I have finally added machines and conveyor belts to my factory game. Yep, I can hear the cheers already. It's been a wild ride getting here, and trust me, I've got some very cool stuff to show you today. If you're new here, hi, this is Nova, a solo developer building a factory automation game. And this devlog is packed with features, conveyor belts, machines, building system upgrades, a dismantling feature that I should have added ages ago, and a little teaser about the chaos I've accidentally unleashed. So stick around because you're not gonna want to miss what's coming up. Alright, first up, conveyor belts. I know, it's about time. After all this time dodging this feature like it's a dentist appointment, it's finally here. I have built the grid-based conveyor system that's simple but super flexible. Picture this. You plop down a conveyor and you can send items wherever you want. Left, right, up, down, you name it. Okay, maybe not up and down yet, but you get the point. But before I could even get conveyors working, there was one small problem. Items. Because, what exactly were these conveyors supposed to be moving? Up until now, everything in the game has existed as an inventory item, just numbers in a menu. But for a conveyor belt to actually function, I needed physical items in the world that you can pick up, drop, and most importantly, watch as they move along the conveyor. So I made a super simple item system. Nothing fancy, just objects with basic physics and a bit of gravity. If you drop an item, it falls to the ground. If you pick it up, it disappears into your inventory. And if you throw it, well, it just kind of exists there until something interacts with it. But now that items physically exist, conveyors can actually do their job. Which brings me back to how the conveyors work. Each conveyor has a single slot inventory that holds the item it's moving. It uses a raycast in the direction it's facing, and if it detects an empty conveyor ahead, it passes the item along. That's how they keep things flowing from one to the next. And here's the fun part. If you drop any item into the conveyor, it gets detected automatically and starts cruising along. But before talking about the other features of the conveyor, let's talk about machines. Because, well, what's the point of having a perfectly functioning conveyor system if it's just endlessly passing items around like some kind of a race? We need a reason to move these items along the conveyor. And that's where machines come in. Each machine follows a set of recipes, and I set up a scriptable object to hold all the recipe data. This thing is basically the machine's cookbook. It keeps track of all the required inputs and outputs for every single process. But here's where things get interesting. Outputs aren't always guaranteed. Some recipes have random output chances, and I'm mainly using this for 2 things. First, residuals. Something like slag or nuclear waste. Whenever you're processing raw materials, there is a chance you'll end up with byproducts, which would be used for all sorts of other stuff or recycled. But I don't know yet what kind of recycling system I want. Should it be something like a science pack, where every item has a value and once you reach a certain threshold, you get a useful reward or tech? Or should it be more like satisfactory, where using the recycler just unlocks cosmetics and fun stuff? I honestly can't decide. So definitely let me know down in the comments which system you think would be cooler. That said, the second use of random outputs is something I think would be really cool. An optional upgrade that adds a chance to double the output of a recipe. So instead of always getting a predictable 60 items per minute, you might get lucky and squeeze out more materials from the same process. Sounds amazing, right? Well, there's a catch, because this isn't a guaranteed boost. It makes your setup inherently inefficient. If you love perfectly balanced production lines where every item flows smoothly, this upgrade will drive you insane. But if you're the kind of player who just wants more resources now and doesn't care about making things look pretty, this could be exactly what you need. In early game, when you are struggling to get materials, having a little extra output here and there can be a lifesaver. And let's be real, this feature is also perfect for the people who build absolute spaghetti conveyor systems. You know who you are. The kind of players who slap high-speed conveyors on a recipe that outputs once every solar eclipse, just because it feels right. That being said, I know some people take factory efficiency very seriously, so don't worry. This upgrade is completely optional. Your beautifully synchronized factory will remain untouched. With this setup, I can make anything from basic ore to ingot recipes to insane 6 input 3 output monstrosities. And with that said, I had to make machines. And what better option than with the most essential one? Because, let's be real, there's no factory game without a smelter. It's like making a shooter without guns. So I quickly jumped into Blender, whipped up a simple smelter model and dropped it into the game. For now, I filled it with some basic smelting recipes, turning raw ore into ingots. It's nothing fancy yet, but this little guy is the foundation of everything. Without it, you wouldn't be able to craft more advanced materials, which means no machines, no automation, no fun. So yeah, the smelter is kind of a big deal. And honestly, designing these systems feels like solving a bunch of little logic puzzles. Figuring out how inputs turn into outputs, how to balance production rates, and how to avoid breaking everything in the process. If you like that kind of problem-solving tool, you should check out today's sponsor, Brilliant. Brilliant helps you build real problem-solving skills with interactive lessons in math, science, programming, and AI. Instead of just watching videos, you actually do the learning, dragging, clicking, and experimenting with concepts to build an intuitive understanding. It's way more engaging than traditional learning and has been proven to be up to 6 times more effective. Their courses are great if you enjoy breaking down complex systems, just like in factory automation. It teaches you how to think like an engineer, solving real-world problems with hands-on learning, whether you're on your computer or your phone. You can try Brilliant for free for a full 30 days. Just visit brilliant.org/novacode or scan the QR code on screen or click the link in the description or the pinned comment. You will also get 20% of an annual premium subscription. A huge thanks to Brilliant for sponsoring the channel and supporting what I do. Now that machines have their recipes figured out, there is something important about outputs that you will need to consider when designing your factory. Each recipe has a base operation time. For example, 1 operation every 2 seconds. But that doesn't mean you'll only get 1 item every 2 seconds. Instead, it means the machine completes an operation in 2 seconds. You could have a machine that spits out 2 ingots every 2 seconds, which still results in the same 60 items per minute as a machine that produces 1 item per second. And the output could be any defined number. But here's where things get tricky. Your conveyors need to be able to keep up. Every conveyor tier has a limit on how many items it can hold at a time. Let's say you are using a basic conveyor that can only carry 1 item at a time. If your machine outputs 2 items every 2 seconds, the conveyor won't be able to handle both at once. Instead, it will take 1 item, move it forward, then come back for the second one, meaning you are losing efficiency. The machine is ready to output both items instantly, but the conveyor is slowing it down because it has to move them 1 at a time. So when you're designing your factory, you will need to think about how fast your machines produce items and whether your conveyors can keep up. If you don't match them correctly, you might end up with bottlenecks, wasted time, and machines just sitting there waiting for the conveyor to catch up. Speaking of bottlenecks, after the last devlog, I got a ton of feedback on the building system, and honestly, it gave me a lot of inspiration. A lot of you suggested removing the grid restriction, and allowing buildings to be placed freely whenever you look. And yeah, I completely agree. A grid system has its place, but it's way more suited for voxel-style games like Minecraft or Foundry. In a factory automation game like this, there's really no reason to force players into a grid placement system. So I did exactly that. Now, the player can toggle between free build and grid modes, and both modes also allow snapping. That means if you prefer to build on the grid but happen to aim at a building that's off the grid, it will automatically snap to align with that building. And the same thing applies in free mode. I also heard your feedback about the visuals of the buildings themselves. And while I agree they could use improvement, I really want to focus on making the mechanics fun first before diving deep into the visuals. But I couldn't help myself. I wanted to experiment a little, especially since visuals are my weak point. So I reworked my preview shader to now include animated previews and the dissolve effect, making it feel much more responsive and polished. That leads me to the building animation itself. Now, whenever you place a building, it rotates and scales up into existence, with a very satisfying animation. And I have to admit, I think it's just as cool as the multi-build mode, but combining both? That was just way too much fun to play around with. And lastly, I finally added a dismantling system. No idea why I waited so long, but now it works exactly like the building system, with 2 modes, single dismantle and multi-dismantle. And just like building, you can click once to start, click again to define an area, and everything in between gets removed. Super simple, super effective. Let me know what you think of the system so far. Your feedback has been really valuable, and as you can see, I'm definitely listening. Okay, so all this sounds awesome, right? Free building, snapping, smooth animations, it's all feeling really good. But here's the thing about big games. They have this nasty little problem where every single mechanic is connected to a bunch of others. Nothing exists in isolation. You tweak one system, and suddenly, other systems is on fire in the background. And yeah, that's exactly what happened. After upgrading the building system, I was feeling great. Then, after a bit of testing, I realized something horrible. The conveyor belts don't work anymore. See, back when everything was on a grid, you could always connect them and properly make a clean pass to another machine. But now that buildings can be anywhere in the world, the current grid-based conveyor system completely falls apart. And that leaves me with 2 painful choices. First, I could scrap the new building system and go back to the old grid-based system. But let's be honest, that would suck. The new system is so much better. It's smoother, more flexible, and honestly, I don't think I could bring myself to throw it away. And judging by your feedback, Neither could you. The second option, curved conveyors. Basically, doing what Satisfactory does. Allowing conveyors to bend and curve freely so they can connect between buildings no matter where they are placed. Which sounds amazing if I can make it work. But the problem is, I have no idea how to make it work. And even if I did, it would take so much time. It's a massive overhaul and I've been avoiding it for a reason. Everything I have done so far with conveyors has been grid based, and moving to a completely freeform curved system means throwing out a ton of existing logic and coming up with a whole new way to handle item transportation. So yeah, I've backed myself into a corner. Either I throw away the new building system, or I take on a huge challenge I wasn't ready for. And honestly, I think you already know which one I'm gonna choose. So that's where I'm at right now. Conveyor belts are moving, the building system is smoother than ever, and I'm psyching myself up for the curved conveyor challenge. It's gonna be a pain, but honestly, I'm kinda excited for it. I'm really pleased with the progress on this one, and I hope you are too. If you have any suggestions or just want to ask something, you can drop a comment or join my Discord. I'm trying to be as active there as possible. And hey, if you want to go the extra mile and support what I do, you can also check out my Patreon. It really helps me keep making these videos. Yeah, and one more thing. My last video, yeah, it basically disappeared into the void. Because YouTube algorithm, that's why. So, if you like this one, please leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Catch you in the next devlog.